Okay, so here we are with first episode of PVZH Players. See if Hearthstone cards are good. Y'all want to introduce yourself?
Okay, so I'm Icicle. You probably know me if you watched his last PVZ Heroes video, but I'm here again.
Yeah, I'm first hero. I'm like a new face. I don't know. I do some 1v1s usually. I don't know, man.
Yeah. All right.
He does some shenanigans.
Pretty much, he's a goober. Okay, so the first card we're going to be looking at is a card called Vampiric Blood. A 2-mana card. Give your hero +5 health. Spend 3 corpses to gain 5 more and draw a card.
Okay, so what is a corpse?
Every time a friendly minion dies, you gain a corpse.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And
So it's like Valk.
yes.
I mean,
Okay.
Valk in a very protective way, right? You just get 5 health.
And if you heal, you keep that health. Like it's permanent health.
Oh, so it's okay. It's permanent health.
So you're
For
giving
2
yourself.
costs, this sounds really good.
Yeah.
And those 3 red symbols you see mean that you can only run this in Blood Decks, which is
Okay.
a Death Knight thing.
So that's like classes. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Death Knight thing where they can only run this if they're running triple blood runes.
Okay. It draws you a card too. That seems good.
Only if you get the corpses. If you pull this off, you get +10 health and draw a card. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
I don't know the meta in this game, but I feel like if I'm going off of PVZ Heroes, it seems like things die pretty easily. So, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's the same case with this game.
Depending on what deck you're running, you kind of want your minions to die,
Yeah, so
especially for Death Knight.
it's like he is healing you for +5, right? So usually you would want this in a deck where you would go late game, right? But at the other hand, you need 3 corpses to activate its card. So I feel like for a late game deck, it could be viable considering like if a card draws a card, right? Late game it usually considers so it's like it doesn't take space for anything important. You can just play it and it will just go away. So this is like for me probably solid B+ tier card.
Honestly, yeah,
Yeah.
I think I would go probably a solid A if we're going on a tier list here.
See, the
This
thing
seems really
is,
good.
if you don't have the corpses, you will only gain +5 health. So you don't need the
I mean-
corpses to activate this. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that seems good too. Like, even if you don't get the corpses, it's still +5 health for 2 costs. Literally, in PVZ Heroes, you have to get +10 health, permanent health, for 8 cost.
Yeah,
So-
I've seen it.
Yeah.
So for 2 costs, this seems really good.
So it counters aggro decks, it gives some sustain, and late game it doesn't take space. I would say this is a solid cost, honestly.
Yeah, blood decks pretty much specialize in just, staying alive, sustainability. So yeah, y'all are on the money right there. Let's go next. Crisis to Voracious, a 4-mana 7/7 legendary battle cry, which means if you play it from hand, discard your hand, death rattle, draw 3 cards. When it dies, that's what it does.
Okay, so Battle Cry is when it's played, and Death Rattle is when it's destroyed.
Yes. If
That's what I'm
it
getting.
gets silenced, which means the text goes away, and if all the effects are gone, you can't activate Death Rattle.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Well, I
okay.
mean, it's a 7/7, which is insane stats for a 4 cost, but it does discard your hand.
Wait, so do you start with 4 cards in Hearthstone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So
if you play this early game when you don't have a lot of cards in your hand, it can definitely be insane. Like, imagine this, like, if this is, like, your last card in your hand, you're basically drawing 3 cards and getting a 7/7.
Yeah.
That's a good argument.
I will
With
say
the-
this. There are cards that can cheat this out without activating the battle cry if you have cards in your hand that you don't want to get rid of. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
How cheap is removal in this game?
There are fairly cheap removal tools. There are the more expensive ones are like big removal, like hey, you remove this from the game completely.
Yeah, like how much is hard removal? Like just completely destroys it.
For this card, there is a 2-mana card that Priest has, which will destroy this card.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
judging from LOR, right? In a deck that can sacrifice this card and draw 3 cards, it's absolutely huge. And like in like aggro deck, I don't see people not running this card. But considering you saying like how like this is its ability to draw 3 cards is actually like you can neglect it. This can like I think this is the type of card where risk is just too much for reward. I mean, it does 7 damage, sure, but at the same time, you basically commit your entire resources to this one card. Like,
Yeah.
maybe slightly misunderstood, because if you get this like very late game where you're like none of you have resources and you draw this is absolutely huge, right? But on the other hand, I think this is too much of a commitment for me.
See,
For my
Are
play.
there any cards that like allow this to go face? I know in like PVZ Heroes there's things like Plant Food and Sunstrike that allow it to go like basically help it go face.
I forgot to mention this. In Hearthstone, there's only one type of card that can protect your face. It's called taunt cards, where they basically have a shield around them, and you can't attack anything other than that card. So if they don't have any taunts on board, you can just go face. You can ignore their minions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very
okay.
much like a lore.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Taunt seems really similar. There's cards like Gladiator and Soul Patch that protect face.
Yeah.
So.
It also protects
For me,
minions,
like-
which, like, if there's a taunt minion on board, you can't attack any other minions or face. You have to attack the taunt minion to kill it.
So it's like hunt, classical. It's like hunt. Like
Oh,
if
yeah.
you play minion, you have to place it in front of it. It's gonna block anyway. The only difference being like you can choose hunt, you can't choose taunt.
Yeah.
I feel
There
like
are
Taunt
cards.
counters this.
Yeah. Yeah. There are cheap taunts in the game, so definitely you can't just play a taunt minion and ruin their day.
I feel like this could definitely have huge potential if you pull it off, but I'm gonna give it like a B.
What about you?
Maybe like a C plus.
See, I think Hero's more on the right track because when the
Okay.
card came out, it was people thought it was garbage. And then people found out that there was an older card which let you cheat this out on. Okay, there's a card called Deathspeaker Blackthorn, right? He is a 7-mana card, Battle Cry. Summon 3 minions from your deck with Death Rattle that cost 4 or less. So you can basically, at 7 mana, if he's still in your deck, you can cheat out a 4-mana 7/7 as well as 2 other minions with Death Rattle on your deck, and just get a board full of big boys.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
That was one of the things that people did with this card. Other than that, it's like
Nerfing that combo?
the what?
Did they end up nerfing that combo? Or
Not really. It wasn't consistent enough because you had to have it in deck.
okay.
Is the problem, and there weren't many cards to let you shuffle it back in at the time. Other than that, it's like, nowadays it sees basically no play because like the risk reward is too little.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like if this was in PVZ Heroes, it would be kind of broken.
Yeah.
Like-
Really. I mean, squash and like other removal stuff. I feel like if this was in like Shamrocket, bro,
Yeah.
this card doesn't get bro.
Well, you gotta remember, in PVZ Heroes, the meta is very aggro. So like by the time you get to turn 4, you could easily empty your hand at that point. And also, the removal cards, especially cards like Shamrocket and Doomshroom, don't really see much play because they're just too niche and end up just filling up your hand, clogging up your hand.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Like a better version of Garg. Yeah, I see this. Right.
Right.
Okay, next card.
Next card is going to be Colossal +1, immune while you control Kolok Shell. 7 mana 6/5 beast. Okay, so this is basically what Colossal does. It summons an extra appendage of itself, where in this case it summons 1, and that 1 minion being his shell. And the shell is a 7 mana 0/8 has 0 attack, 8 health. When it dies, you give your hero 8 armor. Or 6 armor, sorry.
Okay.
And this is immune, which means you can't target you can target it with spells and such, but it won't take damage at all, no matter what.
Can it still die to hard removal?
It can die from like silences and removal that says like, hey, just take this minion out.
Yeah, like destroy.
Yes, like destroy cards will take this card out. Yes.
Okay.
This is a druid card, by the way.
Yeah. The first take that I got out of this is it feels a little slow. Like, it doesn't have... I mean, yeah, it's immune while it's there, but... Do people run destroy cards a lot? Or is it like...
I mean, it depends on the meta, really. Like, when the card came out, it was, you know, like, barely played because, like you said, it's like, it's slow. That's the problem. It's slow. Excuse me. And the payoff just isn't worth it. What about you first? What do you think?
I feel like this is like the type of card you can choose very easily. You are not the one choosing; the opponents are the ones choosing you, right? 7.65. So there is no immediate threat of killing someone, especially for 7 mana, right? Not a good finisher. The Colossal +1 helps, but it's not too much, considering you don't even need to kill the shell, right? So if the opponent has like small cards, or even anything efficient of doing its job, I feel like this is like just a way too cheesable of a commitment for like 7 cost card. But I see it like it can be played. It can be played.
Like I forgot to mention that the shell itself has taunt, so they have to attack the shell.
Oh, alright.
I mean, that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, and the shell itself is a beast, which means you can copy the shell and Kolok itself if you have copy cards that copy beast.
Okay. See, I think this has the same problem as like Octo Zombie in PvZ Heroes. It's an 8 cost 7/7 frenzy. It just does no like active ability. It's just big stats. It feels like it's just one of those cards where it's just too slow. You can just be easily ignored.
I don't know. I think the taunt makes it a lot better now. The shell gave +6 armor if it died, right?
Yes, if it dies, gain +6 armor.
So theoretically speaking, this can be like a Pair of Paradise Astrovera combo.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. I see how that works.
So like,
Could you copy the shell?
Yeah, it's a beast as well, so you can copy it.
Okay. I think that makes it a lot better actually. If you can copy the shell, you can get extra armor, survives longer.
You can even
like
buff the shell to make
50
it
armor
attack.
on your face, they can't go through.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, okay. I was just saying, now this seems a lot better now that you said that you can copy the shell.
You can even buff the shell if you want to make it attack.
You can buff the shell too. Okay, yeah, that seems a lot better now.
Canalith. Bro,
Much, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like in a normal deck, this kind of would suck. But if we are like speaking cheese decks, the
It feels
absolute
like a
epitome
troll
of card games, bro, this is epic. Not gonna lie.
It feels like a troll card, honestly.
Yeah.
Like some like force field soul patch kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, let's go next. Ice Trap. This is a 2-mana secret. Secrets are basically like this. When the opponent plays a secret, you don't know what they just played. It'll be on the board, or like on their face, really. You can hover over it to say, oh, they just played a secret, but you don't know which secret it is until you play into the secret.
so it's kind of like a gravestone. Like, you know that they played it, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Unless you have a Spyrus.
Yes. With secrets, you don't know what it is until you activate the secret. Which for this case, it is when your opponent casts a spell, return to their hand instead, it costs 1 more.
Okay.
It is a hunter card.
What is the Frost? Is that like a tribe?
It's the type of spell it is. It's a frost spell.
Okay. This kind of feels like a Forget-Me-Nuts, but like... thing. Forget-Me-Nuts is a card that increases the zombies' tricks cost.
Yeah, this does it like for once. Forget-me-not is absolutely like you stack 2 Forget-me-not, it has permanent effect, but
Yeah.
this is
Well,
a spell,
yeah, Forget-me-nots is definitely a lot stronger than this, of course, but
and it's a 1 cost.
Yeah, and
yeah, I don't know what they were thinking when they added that.
actually, when the opponent plays into your secret, the mana they spent to play into your secret gets spent, which means they're low on mana as well.
Oh, so if you play this on turn 2 and they spend two mana on a spell, that basically just means
the spell does
yeah,
nothing, and they get it back in their hand with +1 mana cost.
yeah, that's like a mini Brainana
Yeah.
if they play spell.
I feel like as a Plants vs Zombies player, right? This would have the same type of problem Gravebuster has, where for what it costs, it's extremely efficient. But if your opponent doesn't do tricks or doesn't rely as much on tricks, right? Doesn't have like high cost stuff, it's gonna be useless. So it's gonna just take up space of an important card or something. It's gonna do literally nothing, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the very risky, but also like I don't think tricks are that rare in any card game, so it's not as much risk as Gravebuster. So I would say this would probably be like the vampire stuff, right? Vampire, but slightly less effective considering it may get like useless sometimes. So I would say something like B minus, honestly.
Because you can
Are there any
definitely play around this card and play like a spell you don't care about, and then play a spell you did want to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, is there like any like trick finishers or spell finishers, like finishers that are spells?
Oh, there are
'Cause I know
damage.
PvZ
There are
heroes,
damage
you have like
spells, yeah.
multiple. Okay. So, like if they played a big spell, this would be insanely good.
Yeah, if they played a big spell, it'll go back to the hand. They just wasted their mana, and they get +1 mana cost.
Yeah.
So you basically get like something like 19 mana of value from a 2 mana card. It's like
Ooh, let me mention that the maximum mana in this game for every class minus Druid is 10. Druid can get to 20,
Okay.
at least for now.
So after turn 10, you can't go any higher.
Yes. Even if you
Okay.
play like a mana gain spell, it'll not work.
magnifying Karas cries in the sight.
So at max, this is gonna get 10 mana worth of value.
No.
Yes,
Think of this like this.
Yeah, but if they play a 10 mana spell, it'll go back to their hand 11 cost, and they can't play it.
Or if they play a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if they play a 9 cost spell, it goes back, so now you need 19 mana to activate one single spell, right?
No,
No,
10.
no, you need 10 because it goes back to their hand.
Yeah,
then
but
the
because
next-
he already played it for 9 and he got back, so
Yeah,
after you play it second time, you effectively
Yeah.
wasted 19 mana on a spell.
Pretty much. If it's a good spell, then sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Next.
I think it's like an A tier, maybe.
Yeah, that's basically how it is. Yeah, it's not. I don't really. I haven't seen it being played recently, but I don't know about high level play. It could be same play. 'Cause I don't know. I haven't seen Hunters in a while. But next card, we have Kalecgos, a 9 mana 4/12. Your first spell each turn costs 0. Battle cry. Discover a spell. Legendary.
So Battle Cry is like a diner roar, right?
Battle Cry only triggers once, and they have to play it from hand to trigger it. If it gets cheated out, it will not trigger the Battle Cry.
Oh, okay.
But the effect, your spell costs 1 or 0 first. It'll keep going for the rest of the game until it dies.
Yeah. So, I know we're gonna talk about modded PvZ heroes later, but Purple Green added a rework to Trickster, which made every trick cost 0 and minions that can't be played. And knowing that, after we tested that out, making tricks cost 0 is kind of broken. So even for modded, it's kind of broken. So I feel like this could be really good in certain situations. Like imagine you play this and then you could just play like a 10 cost trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a 9 cost card, my guy.
But like, remember, okay, so in PvZ Heroes we have Dark Feast, right? Like, what the broken combo when we added that was you'd play the Trickster and then you could immediately play Garg Feast for like 11. So you could play like 17 brains worth of stuff at turn 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice motive we're talking about. Try to imagine in like our days PVZ Heroes meta. You would have to sacrifice two cards on your hand. One being this one, the other one being the trig. You need to rely of this surviving. And then the first problem is actually surviving till turn 9. Since you have two cards, like
Yeah.
effectively blocking important stuff you have, right? And then
Yes.
this also doesn't make every spell. It costs like one. So if you are unlucky and don't get like spell or don't get this card, like
Yeah.
I
It
don't know.
does have 12 health though, which is good. 12
True.
health is what makes it good. So it doesn't die as easily.
Yeah, there's like a trend with the dragons where they always like most of them have 12 health.
Okay. Yeah, I think this could be good in certain decks. Maybe not fit in every deck.
It's a mage card, so it's only a mage deck, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not
I
like
think this could be... Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I think this could be like maybe a B plus maybe, depending on the deck.
Yeah, when it came out, which was like in 2019, really, it was played to cheat out big spells. But the thing was, there's a spell called the coin, which goes to the player going second, right? And what it does, it's 0 mana, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. What people would do back then, they didn't read the card correctly, the Kalecgos card. They would coin, play Kalecgos on turn 9, and then go, wait, I just wasted my first spell. But back then it used to cost 10, so you would be wasting 10 mana to play a card that you can't even use yet, and they're probably going to kill next turn.
Yeah. That seems kind of funny.
Yeah. So first, what rating do you give it?
I don't know, probably a C tier card. I'm not appreciating this one, not gonna lie.
Yeah. First is on the right track because these
Okay.
days there's a lot better cheat out cards. Like these days, this card is used like for budget players pretty much, right? Because this is a card that everyone can get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everyone has this
Yeah.
card when they play Mage because they give it out for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot better cheat out spells and minions that you can play. You only play this as like a last resort, or you put it in your deck as a last resort. Like, oh, I don't have this card. Let me put this card in.
See, I feel like in PvZ Heroes this card would be broken because cards like Teleport and Garg Feast exist.
Yeah.
So
I mean, only one of them costs 0, so I think teleport would be probably the worst one to get with this.
well, what you could do is like you would play Teleportation Zombie, which isn't a spell, and then you could teleport this in and then immediately play Garg Feast.
That sounds hella fun. Yeah.
All right, go next.
Yep.
Templar Captain, 8 mana, 8/8 with Rush. Rush basically means with the moment you play it, they can attack minions immediately. Cannot go face, but they can attack minions.
Okay.
Okay, Rush. After this attacks a minion, summon a 5/5 defender with taunt.
Ooh.
So
For
what do you
8
think?
cost, this seems pretty good.
It is a paladin card.
I mean, so Rush attacks a minion immediately when it's played, right?
Yeah, you can choose the minion too. Like you choose who
Okay.
to attack.
So I feel like for 8, since it has 8 attack, this is basically like a hard removal for anything that has 8 or less.
And
And
even
then
if
it
it
also
dies,
summons 5/5.
yeah, even if it dies, it'll still summon the 5/5 with taunt.
Yeah. 5/5 with taunt is what makes this card good.
Wait, so after every attack or only after the first one?
After every attack on a minion, it'll summon a 5/5. If it
Holy
goes face, it will not summon a minion.
So you could just constantly attack minions and just get infinite 5/5s, theoretically.
Yeah, and Paladin has lots of buff cards, so you can keep this alive a lot.
Captain
Yeah.
Combustible likes this.
This
Like,
feels really good.
yeah.
See, the
Imagine
thing is,
time to shining this, but oh man.
yeah, the thing is, you only run this in a big Paladin, which is a archetype where you just run a bunch of big minions and cheat them out early.
Yeah.
Paladin doesn't really have too many that I don't remember that many that they can use achievement. I know there's one weapon that after you attack twice, summon the lowest cost minion from your hand. And it doesn't matter how much it costs. It could be like a 10 cost minion. If it's the lowest in your hand, it'll summon that 10 cost minion. But other than that, I don't remember this was played when it came out in Alterac Valley, which is the expansion it came out in. But other than that, nowadays I don't really see it being played that much, and I don't really know why.
How easily can you get to turn 8?
For Paladin nowadays,
Yeah, like is control like common in this game, or is it more aggro based?
well, these days it's an aggro meta. Like control meta happens sometimes. The aggro meta is the thing right now. Control meta seems to be coming back for now. But aggro is definitely the thing at the moment. Like, just go face, ignore minions.
Okay. Yeah, I can see this being good.
What rating do you give it?
Considering that you actually have to get to turn 8 to even play this, probably like a B.
Okay.
Feels like it'd be really good if you actually get there.
Yeah, and if there's no minions on board, you're just basically just playing it for tempo. What do you think first?
Honestly, this feels like a card that will become a victim of power creep, right? So if this came out early, I would give this an A. But considering like how long of a game Hearthstone has been down, like Plants vs Zombies Heroes, it actually has been updating. This is probably like a C tier card now, maybe.
Honestly, yeah. It's definitely C tier. It's unfortunate, but it's a C tier card, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, go next. We have, I don't know how to pronounce this one, I'm just gonna say Mida. Mida Pure Light, 6 mana 4/6, Divine Shield, Lifesteal. Divine Shield is a keyword, which means it has a shield around it, and it's not taunt, it's a different shield, where the first time it takes damage, ignore it doesn't matter how much damage it did, ignore the damage.
Okay.
And Lifesteal is whenever it deals attacks something or deals damage, it'll heal your hero for the attack that it has.
Okay, so there's 2 cards actually. There's a trash can zombie and shield or a screen door shield zombie that have this ability where they can't be hurt for that turn, which kind of is the same thing.
Like as long as Divine Shield is up, they can't get hurt. Like you can hit them once with like a 1 cost, like 1 damage spell, and then attack it. You know.
That's like if you counter this pretty well.
Yeah,
What does Lifesteal do?
Yeah,
I'm guessing it just takes.
No, Lifesteal heals your hero for the amount of damage it does.
Okay, yeah, so there's a card called Venus Flytrap that does that, so yeah.
Yeah, and the Death Rattle means that it'll shuffle a fragment of itself into your deck that'll resummon Mida when it's drawn.
Oh, okay.
So every time it dies, it'll just,
That kind of sounds like the Astrocado pit that I told you about last time.
Yep, it just keeps coming back. But you don't have to play this card. As soon as you draw it, Mida will come back.
Oh, okay.
With every full health, all Divine Shield, Lifesteal, everything.
The problem with this is instead of Astrocado, this is shuffle, so you have to actually draw it in order to get this ability.
Yep, and you can discover the card in your deck and draw it yourself, but other than that, you have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a priest card too. Yeah.
I feel like with Discover this could be good, but.
Does Lifesteal have a cap?
No.
Oh, so you can like have your hero like 80 health or something.
Like no, your hero will have a max of 30 health, unless you play cards that increase your max health.
Okay.
But when you get to, like, if you start over healing, then it will not heal you above 30 health unless you play something that increase.
Okay.
So what do y'all think?
I mean,
seeing how you control cards were like C tier, I feel like this one might be a little bit better because it's cheaper and it seems better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with maybe like a B minus, EBB.
Yeah. What do you think first?
Yeah, this is like the counterpart of Click Piece from Plants vs Zombies Heroes, right? If you manage to draw enough of these cards, considering that it summons, right?
It resummons itself.
Yeah, so it's like if you get enough of this, like enough luck with this, you're basically unkillable. Which is like aggro decks will hate this card. I feel like if you have for 2 cost hero 5, if we are playing late game, maybe this isn't as efficient at its job as the other card was. I mean, I get that those are probably 2 different type of cards, right? You said the other one was blood.
Yes, it's a blood card, which only Death Knights can use. You can't. Okay. So in this game, each class has their own set of cards, and the other classes cannot use on the other class's cards unless they discover them somehow. Then they can play the other class's cards. But when you're building a deck, you cannot use other classes' cards with a single class. For instance, a priest cannot use rogue cards.
Okay.
So depending on this one's class, I think this is either low C tier or high B tier.
Yeah, it's a priest card, which means they do lots of healing. They buff their minions. They go
If
face.
it has enough healing, if it has enough good heals, it's essentially gonna run the same problem Venus Flytrap runs into, right? Where it's just not efficient enough of doing its job. So if we are talking about a class that already has enough healing, I don't see this as much of a good. I mean, can be usable, but I would say this is like high C, low B in that case.
This kind of has the same problem as like Nurse Guard. It's like it's kind of too slow, and at that point you probably don't need healing if you've already gotten to turn 7 and turn 6.
Alright, so this card, when it came out, was a kind of really annoying because it kept coming back no matter how many times you killed it, right? That was one of the big problems, right?
It seems like, especially with Discover, that seems like a problem.
Yeah. And the thing is, even if you're at fatigue, which means you run out of cards, you just keep getting this guy as long as he keeps dying, so you never run out of minions to go face with.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actual fun fact not many know. If you run click peas are going viral in your deck, you never run out of cards. Literally. So you can have that as a win condition, in a way.
Yeah. Alright. Go next. We have SI7 Agent, a 3/3, 3-mana card. Combo, deal 2 damage. Okay. Yeah. This is a rogue exclusive keyword where you have to play a card before you play this card to activate the combo. That's pretty much it. If you play this by itself, the combo will not activate. You gotta play a card beforehand. So what do y'all think?
It seems like a pretty good early game card.
What do you think first?
So in order for its ability to go, you need to have a turn 4, like at least. So you can play a card before this, right?
There are 0-mana cards, so yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we are talking about dealing 2 damage during turn 4. These games so far, like from what I've gathered from the past cards, doesn't seem to have like low health, high attack cards as much. I'm not sure how valuable 2 damage in this game is because in Plants vs. Zombies Heroes, 2 damage can do a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
But if we are talking about turn 4 2 damage, I don't know. I'm not sure about this one, honestly.
This seems like just like an average card.
Honestly, Ice is right on the money because back then this card was a menace because they would play this, kill a early game minion, then you have a 3/3 you have to deal with. Nowadays, there's so much removal and good spells you can use to kill this. You know, only like budget decks really run this.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you're right there.
Snowfall Guardian next.
Snowfall Guardian is next. 6 mana 5/5. Battle Cry. Freeze all other minions.
Does this include yours?
Yes, includes your own minions. You can have a max of 7 minions on your board, and they can have a max of 7 minions as well. So basically, if you pull it off, you can freeze 13 minions.
Why would you want to freeze your cards, though? Is there any reason why you would want to do that?
Because it's fun.
It's funny, that's why. Still, the real reason is because sometimes you just gotta risk it because they have a board full of big boys. You just gotta freeze your own boys as well as
Yeah.
theirs
It's
before
kind
you
of
can
like
kill them.
Doomshroom, where like Doomshroom's good, but like sometimes you have to kill your own guys in order to get value out of it.
Yep, the original version, which I also sent to you guys, the original version of this gained +1/+1 for each minion froze.
Oh, that seems kind of good.
That was was gonna say, right? Imagine Cryo Yeti with this ability, man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's the same thing as like Cryo Yeti. Like, imagine you freeze all their 13. You're literally getting +13/+13.
Yep, and it used to be a 3/3 5-mana card.
Yeah.
The original version of this card, busted, broken, S tier card. This version, what do y'all think?
This version seems like you could still definitely get value.
Yeah.
I feel like this would be a solid finisher. Like, if they only have 5 health left, you can just like freeze all their minions and then just ignore them and go face.
Something you can do is board lock them, which means you freeze their minions, they can't play anything on board, so they're stuck and can't do anything.
Yeah, that's another thing. Actually, literally, I was playing today at PVZ Heroes, and like I lost because my opponent wasn't killing any of my guys, and my board was filled, and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Hell
It
yeah,
happens. You have to play around it with shamans because they always have like this card. They always run this card because it's just a good card.
Yeah.
You have to play
man.
around
I was
board
gonna
locking.
say, as an absolute Star Lord enthusiast, right?
Yeah.
I see a lot of potential using this card. It's not just about choosing yourself; it's about choosing enemy. It has nice stats for a 6 cost. It basically makes the enemy waste an entire turn, which is huge for late game decks, right? So
This is like the Brainana of minions.
yeah, that's a good analogy. I would say this is like, for my personal opinion, would be like high A tier. Not absolutely busted because it doesn't seem like it can solo win games, but it can definitely be like a good like prepare for like your win condition.
I
If you
would
get
go
what
with
I
like
mean.
an A-. This feels like a good finisher, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. It's more like an A card. That's really it.
Okay.
It's just good. That's it. Okay.
Solid.
Go next. We have a Warlock card. 4-mana, 3/5, Taunt, Lifesteal. When you discard this, add 2 copies of it to your hand.
Oh god, this feels like a click peep search
Oh
situation.
my god. Wait, so you don't even need to find this. You immediately get 2 copies of this.
When you discard it, you gain 2 copies. And if you discard the other 2 copies, you gain 2 other copies. It just keeps
Oh
going.
god.
How does this card work?
I
So
just
you could just
explained
fill
it.
your whole hand up with this.
Yeah, you can fill your entire hand with this card, and then when you're low on health, you just play this over and over again.
Can you discard anything for free? Is discarding free? Or is like
No, you need to play a card to discard a card.
okay.
And most of the time it's random, so you don't actually guarantee discarding this card.
You could combine this with the other card that discards your hand.
Yeah, but you can't play it together because it's not the same class, unfortunately.
Wait, hold on. So if you discard your hand with the other card that you just showed us earlier, does the 2 copies stay in your hand, or do they like also get discarded?
No, they stay.
How would that work?
No, they get discarded, and then they turn into 4 copies, and they go back into your hand. And if those get
Okay.
discarded, they turn into 8 copies, and so on and so on.
So your whole hand. So basically, if you play the discard your hand card, your whole hand turns into High Priestess.
Yeah, but you need to have at least 1 in your hand to discard, and then you can keep discarding that one over and over again. But the thing is, you can only have a max of 10 cards in your hand, and if you try drawing a card with 10 cards in your hand, you burn that card, which means it gets destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah, see, in PVZ Heroes, they have a similar mechanic, but instead of them just getting destroyed, you just can't draw cards. You're at 10.
Yeah, the punishment is you get destroyed outright.
Okay. Well, the punishment in PVZ Heroes is you can't block if you're filled.
Yeah.
So, and there's actually decks that use that to their advantage. Like, there's cards like Regifting Zombie that give the opponent 2 cards. So, like,
I think I've heard about
people,
that.
yeah, people will use that too in the Varage. They'll call them mill decks. Basically, they just fill your opponent's hand so they can't block.
Yeah, mill
Basically,
decks
every
exist
card's
in here too.
bullseye.
Yeah, so you can have like 4 minions on the field, right? And then you have 9 cards in your hand. If you bounce those 4 minions back to your enemy, they are basically stuck with 13 cards, which is like they are not gonna block the entire game, my guy. It's
Yeah.
absolutely doomed.
But what do you think of this card? What rating would you give it?
I mean, it has lifesteal too, so I'd probably give it like a. I feel like this could fill up your hand though. That's the only problem. I feel like it could be like a maybe
A B.
maybe low A, high B.
What do you think first?
I was a cheesy enthusiast, right?
Yeah.
If the deck is built around like is specifically designed to cheese, I think this could be solid A. But considering this doesn't feel as useful on the first, like in general decks, in normal decks,
Yeah.
I'd probably say this is like a low B tier, maybe. I don't know.
Alright, so I got news for you guys. This card sucks.
Ooh.
This card's bad. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You only use this card if you have no other option and you don't have the good cards for a discard deck. I run this card because I genuinely like it. I think it's funny. Because the voice line is funny.
You run it solely for the voice line?
And it's just funny because people are like, wait, he's running that?
Okay.
So,
It's kind of like Starchler, like you're just like surprised if they play it.
Yeah.
Don't compare it to Starchler, though, right? I'm a Starchler enthusiast, my guy.
yeah. And the thing is, if you discard this card, they will know you discarded it because it'll say a voice line like, it'll say like from the void or something, and go back to your hand.
Yeah.
Anyway, go next.
Yeah,
but-
that was an L for all the Plants vs Zombies Heroes players. Not gonna lie.
You have a Sharon Trident.
Okay.
3 mana, 3/2 weapon. Death Rattle. Put a Sunken Trident on the bottom of your deck. And then the Sunken Trident, which is the next card, is the same thing, a 3 mana, 3/2, but after your hero attacks, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions.
Ooh. This seems good. Like for 3 cost, get a 3/2, and then you get another 3 cost that like basically just destroys their or just does a ton of damage to their board.
You have to keep in mind, it goes to the bottom of their deck.
Bottom, yeah, that was what I was thinking.
Oh, it goes on the bottom of your deck? Ooh,
Yes.
okay, maybe. I mean, I think maybe in like a control deck where you actually can like get to the bottom of your deck, or in like a discover deck where you could like discover it, it could be good.
See, the thing is, there's a keyword called Dredge, which means choose one of the 3 bottom cards to your deck and put it on top.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, you can pair that with this. You could also pair discover with this.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could be good.
Okay. This is a warrior card, by the way. It's a weapon, which means you equip it and you can choose to attack, and you can just decide, I don't want to attack. And it only swings twice. It has 2 durability and 3 attack.
Okay.
Michelle's final rating on this.
I feel like this could be a solid A.
What do you think first?
We are looking at stats. Considering you have the option of choice, 3 attack, 2 health is fine by itself.
Yeah.
And the Sunken Trident thing, if the decks are already built like with the things, like with the thing you just said, like
Yeah.
draw your last 3 cards. It's 2 damage to all enemy minions. I mean, if we are talking that Agent used to be a menace, right?
Yeah.
This can be menace squared. So I would say this is like just a good card. Maybe a good card. I don't know.
Alright. I'm sorry to say, this card doesn't suck. But it's like...
Is it like mid?
It's mid. Yeah, it's mid.
Okay.
The 3 damage just... The 3 mana, 3 damage... There's a card called Fiery War Axe. It's the same thing as this card, but it has no text. It's just a 3 mana, 3/2 weapon. Right? You're basically playing that on turn 3. And
Yeah.
you're wasting a turn discovering the better version.
Yeah.
And then you're wasting another turn playing the better version. So it's like it's like a risk reward kind of thing. If they're running aggro, this card's amazing. If they're not running aggro, you're just wasting a card in your deck.
Okay, next card.
Is he laughing?
Nah,
Alright.
I've just been like, I don't know,
Going crazy.
a shining light just shining upon me now. I understand how this card can be bad.
Alright,
You
next
get the
card.
point.
You have Astalor bloodsworn. A 2-mana 2/2. Battle Cry. Add Astalor the Protector to your hand. Mana Thirst 5. Deal 2 damage. Okay. Mana Thirst is basically like this. You can play this on turn 2 if you want to get the Protector in your hand, but it will not trigger the Mana Thirst. If you play us on turn 5, it'll trigger the Mana Thirst.
Okay, so there's cards like this in PVZ Heroes. Like there's, for example, Sage. It's a 2-cost, 2/1. But if you play it on turn 6 or more, if you made 6 sun or more, then you get to draw a card.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what do you rate this version of the card? Because there's 3 different versions of this card. You get better versions as you play them.
Oh, okay. So for this version itself, like not considering the 5-cost one,
Yeah.
I think this is like maybe like a I don't know, maybe like a B tier.
Yeah.
I'll have to like look at the other 2 first. Maybe if the other 2 are good, this might be better.
Yep. The next one you get from playing this card is Astalor the Protector. 5-mana 5/5. Battle Cry. Add Astalor the Flamebringer to your hand. Mana Thirst 8. Gain 5 armor.
Okay. This one definitely seems better.
Nah.
I feel like this one seems better. I feel like the Mana Thirst on the first one isn't really that good. Like
you're
it's only
just dealing 2
damage.
damage, yeah.
I feel like the Mana Thirst on this one is a lot better.
Yeah. The first Mana Thirst is good for removing something, like a minion that you don't want on the board. This one's just good for surviving. What do you give this one?
This one I said B on the last one. I think maybe like a B+ on this one.
And the
Can
final
you run
version,
these separately?
No, you have to play the first version to get the other ones.
Okay.
And then the final version, Astalor the Flamebringer, Battle Cry, deal 7 damage randomly split among all enemies. Mana Thirst 10, deal 14 instead. 8 mana 8/8.
So you said you can run 7 minions on the board, right?
Yes.
At most.
Yes.
So without the Mana Thirst, this is 1 damage to everything basically. If they have 7.
Well, it's randomly split, so some can go face.
Oh, okay.
You can literally go 7 damage face and kill someone randomly.
Yeah.
Imagine you like if there's no enemies on the board, does everything just go face?
Yes.
So you could theoretically do 14 damage to face immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of good.
If you get on turn 10. The original version of this card did 8 damage and then 16 instead. They got nerfed.
When you say that the card gets
like
nerfed,
What rating do you give it?
This version maybe like A tier.
Yeah. And what do you give the card, like overall, like altogether?
Altogether, overall, probably like an A-.
Alright. Alright, this card is run in, like, when it came out, which is, like, recently, because this is a recent card, it was run in almost every deck, pre-nerf.
Whoa, okay. Well, yeah, I did say the pre-nerf one was, like, S tier, so...
Yeah, it was run in almost every deck pre-nerf. Like, after nerf, it's still used, but not nearly as much as it used to.
Okay.
the problem I am having with this card, you're having to commit a 2/2/2 to get whatever is the 8 cost. I'm not talking about spending 5 mana on the middle one here, right? If you're playing a 2/2/2 card in a power creep game like that Hearthstone is, I don't know, you're definitely losing some tempo there. You're definitely not gonna wait 5 turns to deal that 2 damage. That sucks even more.
Well,
Slight
yeah,
problems I have this card.
Yeah, I feel like the 2 cost 1 kind of sucks, but since it gives you the other 2, it feels like it's kind of better since it
Yeah,
gives
but
you.
you still need to commit like 15 mana to get the last one.
I don't think you would ever play this on turn 5. I don't think there's ever a situation where you would play this on turn 5.
True.
Yeah, the
Like-
protector.
You're playing this solely for the battle cry, and that's it.
Or the
It's kind of the
Manethers,
same thing
yeah.
as like Sage. Sage just kind of sucks because like drawing a card, like you have to wait till turn 6 just to draw a card, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 cost to 1.
Yeah.
Brother. I don't know how worth the 8 cost 1 is. I'm honestly waiting till turn 10 to deal 14 damage. If you're a lucky person, this is definitely worth running. But if you're someone like me, you would avoid this card at all costs. I know, man. I don't like this one. Not gonna lie. Personal.
Alright.
Very personal.
There is a card called Brand Bronzebeard where he's a legendary. He will double this battle cry. He doubles all battle cries, including the Mana Thirst. So he'll
Ooh,
deal 28 damage if you have
That
Bran on
sounds
board.
strong. At that point, 28 damage. That's basically like
They're almost dead
Okay.
if they have no minions on board.
Neo Zombo.
Oh. So what do y'all think? With that knowledge in mind.
I mean, if you can double it, I think I would probably keep the same rating, like A minus A.
Yeah.
Definitely S tier for pre-nerf, but
The reason
Wait,
I got nerfed.
How much does the doubling card cost?
3.
All right, this is this is an A plus at least. What the? If you are running already a deck with a lot of better cries, this is definitely not taking any space. Right? You can run this in it. Like, sure, it's a lot of resources you need to invest, but 28 damage, man.
Oh.
so if you could double battle cries for only 3, that seems pretty good.
You can even double the battle cry of the other boys to get extra of them.
Ooh, yes. Like, you could double up on the protector one and get 2 of the 8 cost, and then you basically have like good late game, basically. Like,
Yep.
You double the bloodsworn, then you double the protector, so you end up with like 4 flame bringers.
and if you double the protector, you can get 10 armor.
Oh my god.
Yep.
And that's 8, so you could play that 5 plus 3,
Yeah.
turn 8, get 10 armor. That's crazy.
No.
Oh.
I don't think it is good. The thing, like, I'm not very surprised about 10 armor since it's like just 1 unit. Sure, 1 unit can be slightly problematic, but it's always like you can always like cheese around it. What I am like loving about it more is like the absolute like you can literally start machine gunning your enemy field, like just play Flamebringer, 28 damage 4 turns in a row. Man, I don't know.
Alright. So
I
is
feel
that
like
gonna...
the 3 cost double the battle cry seems OP.
Yeah, it's
That-
running a
Yeah,
lot of
that
decks,
card, I don't know what that card is. Give that card an S tier right now, man. What the hell?
There's a version of that card which doubles battle cries actually. Or not battle cries, death battles.
Okay, well,
That's good enough. That's all the cards. So
Okay.
you got almost all of them right, except for the discard one. Unfortunately.
I think like first hero got more of them right than I did, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nah.
You got like, I want to say 70%, while he got 90.
Yeah.
Alright. Is there anything y'all want to add to the ending of the video?
Yeah. Overall, I feel like the meta for this game is definitely a lot different. Even though they're both aggro, it feels like the meta in this game feels a lot different.
Yeah.
So.
If you're a Hearthstone player, whoever is hearing this, right, man, appreciate having so much fucking variety. Sorry, playing a game that hasn't been updated for 3 years, you definitely appreciate all of this random different cheese you can do with all of these cards. Man,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Alright. I'll see you guys
I'm
later.
glad that you actually still have seasons.
Exactly. I'll see you guys later then.
Okay.
See ya.
See ya.